The comments heard on The View From A Pew are those of Mckoy and are not necessarily the opinions of his guests, his producer Garth, any one particular denomination or religion, the church lady, Mr. Lemke, Pastor Craig, or anyone else of sound mind and body. Now here is today's The View From A Pew, heard all around the world on YouTube. Just search for The View From A Pew.
Thank you, Emily, and happy Turkey Day to you. As I said the other day, if you've got a room full of people who love Jesus or don't mind his presence, this is a great day to go around the room with family and friends and say, what are you grateful for? But remember, the Bible also teaches us, if for some reason our Christian ways are offensive to somebody, Jesus never wanted us to be offensive. So don't feel bad if you don't say a prayer out loud for that one person that may not want to hear that. God knows your heart. He is finding the heart of the person at the table that doesn't want to hear prayers. And trust me, you'll get a lot farther down the road sharing Jesus with this guy or lady if you're not offending them. So happy Thanksgiving to you. We are in our third segment of the week, and this is on, what does the Bible say about pre-flood world? And we're almost to the flood.
Yeah, we're still talking about the pre-flood, what's happening there. This is Thanksgiving. I just want to take a moment to tell you thank you. Thank you that we can do this program together, because it's been a joy for me to be able to share about God's Word and to talk about it with someone who likes to talk about the Bible. So,
you can't shut me up. You're lucky you don't take me on a road trip.
Well, I am thankful also because on Thanksgiving Day, we're pre-recording this. On Thanksgiving Day, I will be with family enjoying a special time together. So I'm very thankful for those things.
Are both your kids coming to town?
No, unfortunately, they won't be, but I'm going to be with quite a few families, some brothers and sisters, and some other relatives. So I'm pleased about that.
All right. So we're still in free flood. There's a lot of sin going on, a lot of babies being the
earth is growing, and we talked about these two lines: the line of Cain, the line of Seth, and more people are turning against God. And the way that we know that is because violence is increasing on the face of the earth, and I'm not trying to oversell this point here, but I do believe that we are in a time close to the second coming of Jesus because we see an increase in violence that's taking place in the world today. Let me go back to the line of Cain again. In some of the stories, and there's just little bits of stories sometimes, one of the descendants of Cain is a man by the name of Lamech, okay? Lamech is about 6 generations from Adam. Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, he has multiple wives now, 2 wives. He said to them, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. Wives of Lamech, listen to my speech. For I have killed a man for wounding me. Apparently, someone wounded him somehow. Doesn't tell how, but he says, I killed him because he wounded me. Maybe we got into a fight and he hurt me some way and I killed him. Even a young man for hurting me, he says. And then he says, if Cain shall be avenged 7-fold, then Lamech 77-fold. Now, what does he mean there? Well, when Cain had killed his brother Abel, God had said that if somebody tries to take revenge on Cain, that he will be avenged 7 times.
By God.
By God, right. But now Lamech is saying, okay, if somebody comes after me and tries to hurt me, I will be avenged. I will avenge against someone else 77-fold, or my descendants will do that. in my name.
Now, we haven't yet got to what Jesus told Peter about 70 times 7.
Right.
But understand this is a magic number that goes in because 7 in the Bible is infinity. So if he says 77 times, that means forever.
Well, yes, it's that's a good application to it, because what we see in this passage, though, is an attitude of revenge, an attitude that we are going to go after each other, and there will be no end to vengeance, right? It'll just keep going on. And Mac, going back to what we talked about last week, about the troubles that are going on right now between Israel and Palestinians.
Yep.
You know, again, there are so many places in this world where vengeance just continues to go on. Many people have died over a period of time. It just continues to happen. God sees this on the earth. He sees how bad things are on the earth, and this is why God destroys the earth with a flood. And it's interesting that when you look at the flood and you see what happened, I mean physically to the earth, I believe it answers a lot of questions as to why the geography of the world is the way that it is today, why the world is covered with 3/4 of water, why there are such great massive canyons in the world today that I believe represent the flow of waters as they are receding from a great flood that takes place.
Yeah.
That has a scientific dimension to it, and won't go into all that. But the flood comes along and makes major changes in this world. And then the family of Noah is left. Now, you've got to think, why does God do this? Why does God choose to bring the flood at this time in Earth's history? Because, hey, Mac, it's pretty bad now, right?
Yeah.
Things are pretty bad in this world. Why is it that after this period of time, when people are developing against God and against his ways, why is it that God chose to come and to bring about this destruction?
Well, it's because they won't listen to him and they won't help him out. And Noah has told them that they need to get on this boat, that God will save them, and they refuse God's help even then.
Yeah. They refuse to listen to God, and I believe God has a purpose in sort of nipping in the bud the problem of sin and violence in this world. Because one of the things that happens afterwards, a few generations after the flood, is that people are scattered around the earth. Why is that? Because they are allied against God.
Yeah.
They have united, and they're fighting against God. They're trying to find ways of resisting here.
And when you think about it, boy, does history repeat itself.
Yeah.
Because here we've got war in the Middle East against God's people and not God's people.
Yes. We're going to go to Matthew chapter 24 today and take a look at what Jesus has to say about the second coming, his second coming, and he compares it to the time of the flood. So that gives us a better context of understanding what it is that God is really addressing. Chapter 24, verse 36, "But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only." On that day that Christ comes back to this earth again. "But as the days of Noah were, so also will be the coming of the Son of Man. It'll be the same as it was during the time of Noah. For as in the days before the flood they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until that day that Noah entered the ark, and did not know until the flood came and took them all away, so also will be the coming of the Son of Man." In the same way that the world was not ready, were not prepared, they had a witness. They knew from what Noah had told them, but they weren't ready. They were going on like they were going to live forever. God is saying there's going to be an end, and you need to prepare for the end. And God gave a way for them to escape, which was to get on the ark.
So is it fair to say that the second coming started when the flood was over?
Well, no, it's just saying that the second coming is like the time of the flood.
Okay.
When people are warned,
Yeah.
and they know that there is an end coming, and yet they still continue to go on like nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
What are they doing? They're eating, they're drinking, they're marrying, they're giving in marriage. These are normal things that happen all the time, especially with a large population that's growing. There's a lot of these activities. They don't even imagine that an end is coming, and they need to be ready. They need to be prepared so that they can escape something like a flood that's going to hit the world.
All right. Tomorrow we will wrap up this week. And this week, of course, is what does the Bible say about pre-flood world, which is basically, you can read about it in Genesis. Obviously, chapters 6 is where the flood comes.
That's where the actual flood story begins.
So you'd want to read Genesis 1 through 5 to become familiar with this. But tomorrow, Nimrod, the mighty hunter, will skip to Genesis 10 and give you the rest of what the Bible says about the pre-flood. I'm Mckoy, and I would like to thank, of course, my co-host. Same with you this morning when you said that it was great working together. I love this. I learned so much from you. Thanks for putting up with my sense of humor. Sorry, Missouri. And we also want to thank our sponsor because we are wonderfully grateful for our sponsor. And our sponsor, of course, is DivineTruthChristian.com. I get that wrong sometimes, but it's DivineTruthChristian.com. And the family over there, the Markle family, is doing something that's not being done very well in the rest of the country, and that is keeping a book, a board, a building for all their goods that they sell. It's a beautiful showroom at 84th and Harrison in Omaha, Nebraska, but they're also online. And the cool thing is when you choose what you want to buy, you'll talk to one of the family members to make sure it's exactly what you want. Little old-fashioned customer service coming back at you. From DivineTruthChristian.com.
Divine Truth Christian Store, where you'll find more.